What does being an A-list movie star and being a top producing real estate agent have in common? I got you covered. What's up, my friend? It's Courtney here with Real Estate Growth Solutions, and I want you to think about this for a moment, okay? Now think about the highlight reel of one's life, your client's life, anyone's life. Generally, there's going to be things like marriage, divorce, children being born, children leaving home. Hopefully there's no death, but that sometimes is an unfortunate eventuality. And there are things like homes that go along with a lot of those things, right? The buying and selling of real estate, job promotions, job loss. And again, the corresponding things that go along with that, like the purchase or sale of a home. And so I want you to remember for a moment, for the duration of this lesson, the fact that we are present for the highlight reel in people's lives, okay? Now, we're not necessarily there for the divorce, we're not necessarily there for the birth, but we play an important role as it's tied to those very important parts of one's life. And if you think about it for a moment, that's a person's highlight reel, okay? That's their life's movie, okay? Most of us only have 78 years if you're a man in North America to live, so you've got a very short movie, and there's only so many times you're gonna buy and sell real estate in that window of time. The question I wanna ask you as a real estate agent is, what are you doing as a real estate agent to be the A-list celebrity in that person's movie? Okay. Now you have the option, and this is something that most agents don't think of, but you have the option as an agent in this person's movie to be either a stand-in or an extra in the background, just kind of doing things that are innocuous, that nobody really notices, that are in no way exceptional or different than anybody else. Opening doors, writing contracts, showing houses, all the basic stuff, putting a sign in the ground, listing a property on the MLS, like just doing the average thing, okay? And those are not the lines or the activities of an A-list celebrity, aren't they? I want you to ask yourself, what is it that I need to do as a real estate agent to be that A-list celebrity in this person's life's movie at this particular juncture, this window of time that I have to make a tremendous impact? What can I do? Well, the truth is you have a lot of power, and too many agents underutilize this window of opportunity that they have. The truth is too many agents get stuck in the grind, the tasks that they have to do, the job that they have of getting paperwork and getting listings signed and showing properties. They entirely forget that this is one of the most important times in another person's life. And even if they did remember that, most of them don't recognize the role that they could play if they took this role more seriously. And so I want you to consider what it might look like if you were an actor and a realtor. Okay, think about this. Now, what do A-list celebrities do? Well, they're tremendous actors. Okay, they're incredible at tonality and conveying emotion, remembering their lines, the positioning of their bodies, just like very, very minuscule facial expressions, because they know that there might be a zoom in on their face during a particular scene that they have to get just perfect. And they've got to do that in all kinds of conditions, all times of day, for maybe months on end away from their families, right? In a lot of cases, not ideal circumstances for this actor either, all right? Not tremendously unlike that of a realtor, although the pay is sometimes different, right? But the truth is that they're acting a role to convey an experience to the person who will be eventually watching this movie. Now, you, as the real estate agent, need to think of your job as being very similar, if not the same, to that A-list celebrity. What are your lines and scripts? Where are you positioned in this particular moment? What exactly ought you to look like? What exactly might you say to convey a certain emotion at this particular time, to create a memorable experience for that person's movie, the movie that you are in, either as an extra in the background doing very average, mediocre work, or that A-list celebrity right out front delivering the performance of a lifetime at every single juncture. So if you ask yourself that question, one of the things that I know that you'll find is that it requires a lot of preparation. It requires a lot of practice. It requires a lot of repetition. In order to get those scripts right, in order to have those processes perfectly lined up and consistent each and every time, you have to have a very clear program and protocol that you follow 100% of the time. You have to document it, and maybe you're changing it periodically, but you have to know what it is first and foremost before you could ever have a hope of communicating it to your clients, before you could ever have a hope of creating an experience that illustrates the fact that you clearly know what you're doing. There are clearly steps in this journey, and you're clearly taking this person from one step to the other on this beautiful journey of self-discovery and the real estate journey of buying and selling. Okay. If you don't know what those things are, you can't convey that. So you have to have perfect clarity around that. You also have to know your scripts around it. Okay. So systems, processes, scripts, the dialogues, what to look like in these moments. You see, all too often, agents say things like, well, Courtney, I don't want to run a business like that. I just want to be myself. I say, yeah, be yourself, but be prepared. Listen, actors don't typically act unlike themselves. Some of the best actors tend to do some of the same roles over and over, and not surprisingly, those characters are a lot like themselves. Maybe different facets of their character, but there's a reason why people get consistently chosen for those same types of roles. They call it typecasting. The truth is it's just what they're good at, okay? Well, here's you, the real estate agent, in the movie of someone's life, having the opportunity to create this memorable experience by being prepared, having great dialogues, having your facial expressions on point, having your energy on point, being able to master emotion and the conveyance of that emotion to support someone in making decisions or not making decisions, depending on whether or not they should or shouldn't, and being able to do this consistently for each and every client, creating this journey so that they can feel like you've really given the performance of a lifetime, the one that you've been intentional about. Not that it's out of character. It's not like it's not you, but it's just a very disciplined, organized, prepared, and intentional version of you, rather than the disheveled, disorganized, unprepared version of you that might have been showing up before. This one's now an A-list actor. This person knows exactly what to do, knows exactly what to say, knows exactly when to say it, knows at what junctures to enter the scene, knows at what junctures to leave the scene, knows what energy to bring at what times, and knows what energy to bring at other times. All of these things are important. Now, you've noticed the difference in tonality and pacing of my speech right now. Yeah, for sure, that's intentional, okay? For sure, it's intentional. And don't think that I don't use that with my consumers either. Not that I'm in production now, but when I did, selling hundreds of properties, that's exactly how I did it. I created memorable experiences. And guess what happens? Well, not surprisingly, it's not different than what happens with great movies, is it? Well, think about it. What happens with a great movie? Well, here's what I can tell you happens. People go to work, they go to gatherings, and just gradually over time, they start telling people what a great movie this was. And they talk about the character and all the crazy things that happened. And spoiler alert, I don't want to tell you, what happened here, but, think about this or that. It's super awesome. Did you see the movie? Okay, well, Joe didn't. So you and I talk about it over here, and then Joe's going to go see it Friday night, and then we can all talk about it on Monday morning, right? Like, this is just life. That's just how it works. We'll talk about it on social media. We'll talk about it at work. We'll talk about it at the dinner table. We'll talk about it everywhere that we go. Well, what's different about those conversations and how they portray the story of the A-list celebrity in the movie that they just watched at the theater compared to the journey of self-discovery that you just created for a family in the highlight reel of their personal life, and the way that you showed up so prepared and engaged and acted out your role with perfection? Naturally, what are they going to do? Well, you better believe it. They're going to feel compelled, my friend, to tell that story to as many people as they possibly can in all the same places, online, at dinners, at gatherings, at work, at the cooler, at the lunch table, you name it. They'll be celebrating you, the A-list actor, realtor, for bringing them that experience, the experience that they've never had before. All those other realtors, yeah, they were like stand-ins, very innocuous, very similar to one another. And there's you, super intentional, very scripted, very clear on exactly what it is that needs to be done and when it needs to be done, for whom, for what purpose, creating these tremendous feelings for the families that you serve. And when you can do it like that, my friend, your business will never be the same again. It'll be entirely different. You'll have people banging down your doors to do business. But you have to be that disciplined. You have to be that prepared. You have to be that clear on what it is that you're trying to create for this client in that time. And when you do, everything will change. But what I'd like you to do for me, please, is go ahead and just comment below and give me an example of something like that you've done in your career so that I can have some insights into how it's worked for you. Take good care.